Hello, I'm Dr. Ross Walker and welcome to the checkup. Hello, Dr. Ross Walker and welcome to the checkup. I'd like to speak to you today about the rather vexing issue of vexing. I'd like to talk about people who are vaxxers and non-vaxxers. Now, the non-vaxxers can be divided into the vaccine hesitants and, of course, the people who are anti-vax. And there are a small number of people of those in the community. And you say, well, that's their problem, because the reality is to vaccinated people, it's almost impossible for them to give each other COVID. So if people choose not to be vaccinated, well, that's their problem. Well, you could argue maybe, because a vaccinated person can still give an unvaccinated person COVID and they can still get very sick from that. And here's the problem. It's not just their own personal decision that they don't want to get they don't want to get vaccinated, and so therefore they get COVID, they've got to put up with it. But the point is, the community still has to pay the taxes that go in to pay the Medicare system that pays for their healthcare. And that's one issue. But here's the bigger issue. And here is really the slam dunk argument against people who refuse to get vaccinated for whatever reason. And the argument goes like this. At the moment, in Australia, we have the Delta strain. And the Delta strain is an extremely contagious strain. But interestingly, at the start of the outbreak, it didn't appear to be that deadly. But over the last month or so, we've seen the numbers dropping somewhat, especially in New South Wales, but we've seen the death rate being maintained. So we're still seeing consistently anywhere between 5 to 15 deaths per day from this Delta strain, which we weren't seeing at the start of the outbreak a few months ago. And here's my concern. My concern is that we've seen since the initial Wuhan strain a number of different strains, and it appears that the virus continues to mutate. Now, here's the problem. Will the virus continue to mutate to the point where it becomes vaccine resistant? And that's my concern, because if we don't get about 90% herd immunity, which is 90% of people either vaccinated or exposed to COVID, we're not going to get that herd immunity, I believe, with this particular variant of the virus. Whereas with something like influenza, we need about 70% of people exposed or vaccinated when we get herd immunity. And herd immunity is when everybody's protected in the community. So for you people who are anti-vaxxers, I know I'm not going to convince you, so there's no point you even listening to this checkup. But for the people who are vaccine hesitant, you are putting everyone else's health at risk, and I think you're being very self-absorbed. So my message today is that not only is vaccination protecting you against COVID, because we now have a pandemic of the unvaccinated, but you're also putting your fellow man at risk. So my message is, please be vaccinated. That's the checkup. We'll talk to you next week.